and welcome to Coffee with Kim podcast. I am here today with my special guest, author Victoria Reinke. This is a special episode of Coffee with Kim. It is not our regularly scheduled programming, but we have a good reason to have an extra episode this week. Victoria Reinke is an author. She is a body code practitioner, and she is a mom of 9. Okay, so collectively between the two of us, we have 20, that's 20 children. So, you know what this means? We're certifiable. Right here, you're looking at two crazy people. And also between the two of us, we have going on 17 grandchildren. The grandchildren are getting up there with the number of children.
Isn't that
wow. Great? I love it. I love it. Do you love it, Victoria?
Oh my gosh, I am absolutely loving it. That at first, let me tell you right now, at first, when my daughter first announced her pregnancy, I was like, I was not the happy, excited grandmother.
Why?
Because I'm not old enough for that yet.
Okay, well then you didn't prep the children like I did. I told my teens because my oldest son turned 18 when I was 35.
Oh yeah.
And so I told my teens as they came into their teens, if you make me a grandmother in my 30s, so there was 5 years from the time he turned 18, I said, if any of you make me a grandmother in my 30s, you will not live to regret it. Like that, let's just leave it at that, okay? Then I said, once I'm 40, you know, I prefer that you get married and all that stuff, but just don't make me a grandma in my 30s, you guys. Come on.
Please.
And so once I was 40, I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's get some grandkids up in here. So anyway, you guys, Vicki and I could do this all day, but we forgot you were here. So we are having this amazing time today talking about Victoria, her 9 children. You guys listen to her bio. She's so awesome. She's like, I'm a weird mom. This is her own written bio. I'm like, I love her. I'm a weird mom. And this is how she qualifies weird: homeschooling, home births, nursing, following Jesus, hardcore. So you know what? If that's weird, I'm in. I want to be weird too. And actually, I'm all those things as well. But I wanted to tell you that when the word weird was first, I don't know, invented in the 1800s, it actually meant supernatural. That's what weird meant.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you are weird.
Absolutely. I embrace that fully and completely, man.
Me too. And so Victoria set out, you know, in her married life, probably not at all planning on having 9 children, not planning on, you know, probably tripling that in the grandchildren department. And then after years of raising children and homeschooling and also having your hobby farm, can I call it a hobby farm? Is that really what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though anybody with animals knows it's not a hobby, it's a job.
And times. Oh my word.
So you're a part-time farmer.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard work.
You know, yeah.
When they die on you or animals get in and, you know, like do terrible things to your animals. It's nasty. No, it's not easy. I'll tell you that right now.
But you love it.
I do love it. I love the animals. Absolutely. And yeah, even Chase, my goat. Oh my goodness.
I'll tell you.
Oh my gosh.
You and your animal stories. Tell us one.
Oh my, one of these days you're gonna see a book just about Chase and how he's such a pest.
Okay, yeah. So what are you gonna teach the children with Chase? Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but there's a lot of lessons there, right?
A lot of lessons.
Being annoying, ruining people's things.
That's right. Taking my stuff. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, don't goats eat everything, like anything that's even inedible things, like clothing?
Not as much as you think. They're actually much more picky than you would think.
Okay, well, then the movies lie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that.
Right? Yeah, they all lied.
So, Victoria, I was thinking, all those years, it's easy for me to relate to those years of you raising a large family, homeschooling, home births, nursing babies. Did you ever imagine that there'd be a season in your life where suddenly you're an entrepreneur, you have a coaching practice, you're helping people, then you're called to write and put your story in print. Now you're an author, and then you begin speaking at events. Now you're a speaker. Did you see any of that coming?
No. So, to be honest though, when I turned 30, I quit thinking, what am I going to be when I grow up? And prior to
Okay.
that, I had all these ideas of things that I was going to be because I like doing lots of stuff and I like the outdoorsy kind of stuff. And and then I just focused on raising the kids and homeschooling and all of that stuff. And then as I guess I should say, as the younger kids started, aging out, and my youngest is now a senior in high school.
Both of our youngest are seniors in
Yeah,
high school.
they are, and the one above her just went off to college too. So we are like this close to empty nesters, which I did not think we were ever going to hit. To
It,
be honest,
you just think it's never going to happen. It feels like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to be in this forever,
I
and
used to say, I'm going to be wiping butts and blowing noses until eternity.
yes,
I don't
exactly.
wipe any butts anymore, just FYI.
Well, I do for the grands, but
Grand, but I mean, of my own children, it's been a lot of years since I wiped a butt, and I'm not
doing that.
sad about that.
Me neither. Me neither.
But let me reiterate what she just said. Her youngest is a senior, my youngest is a senior. That means the two youngest out of the 20 children we have collectively are both seniors. So look
Is
out, world, because these mamas are about to be unleashed, and we're both weird, and we both are called.
amen. And that was one thing that so I've always been kind of a writer. I like to journal. I've journaled for many years, and I don't know, probably 2012, 2015, somewhere in there, I started
Okay.
having dreams, or God would wake me up in the middle of the night and give me these stories, and I was like, what am I supposed to do with that, God? Uh,
Wow.
and so I just wrote them down, and the first one I wrote, well, okay, so the first one I wrote is still in process. It kind of got shelved for a while, and I think after this is going to be kind of my boost to get my booty in gear and get back on that, because it's more of a novel. uh
Okay. Wow. I didn't know you had a novel in you too.
yeah, I didn't either.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's more of a supernatural kind of thing, and it's really it's almost like what was that what was that series that came out a few years ago that was like um dystopian? Is that what they call those, dystopian kind of things, where like uh what's that girl that with the archer, and yeah,
Hunger Games.
yes, that. Okay, so
We're-
it's
we're-
eventually. Anyways, thanks for your help. Um,
sure. I'm sorry it took me so long, but we're in the same age bracket.
and I never read that, and I never watched the movies or anything like that. I'm not really a big movie person or whatever. But either way, it's kind of on that same order where the authorities have taken over and they're doing all kinds of terrible things to the people, and the people band together and start working in more of a supernatural kind of thing. And it's crazy
Wow.
supernatural stuff, yeah.
So
So
it's like with the power of God kind of thing. Like,
absolutely,
oh,
yes,
that's cool.
absolutely,
That's quite a spin on like the C.S. Lewis line, Witch in the Wardrobe, and all that, right? It's kind
yeah, yeah.
of a modern day version.
I got to get back to working on it, and oh my word, I did not even intend to talk about that, because that's one of those things that I keep on the shelf quiet and ignore.
Well, you decided to tell it on the internet, so
And I just did that, Kim. Oh my gosh.
girl, if you were trying to keep that on the download, this was a bad idea.
Look what you did to me again. Oh my gosh.
People are like, you make me say things. I didn't make her. You guys saw. I didn't make her say anything.
I just said all that. Oh my gosh.
Well, I love that though. Because think about the things out there for our kids to read, and that's a really great segue into your newest and your biggest announcement for today. What our children have to choose from. I mean, there are some great books out there. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
I
there's
would really wonder what the percentage of great faith-based biblical types of reading for kids, 1 to 18. I wonder what the percentage or the statistics, like for every one Christian resource, there's, I don't know how many non-Christian options. So we
yeah,
really, really need God to raise up more weird moms like you, Victoria.
that's true. It's so true.
And
And so
weird kids. Are some of your weird kids going to write too?
I don't know. I think I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Um there's a couple that I kind of have that inkling they might, but so far, nope. But they've got other things that they're doing that are changing the world and yeah, I'm
Yeah.
anxious
Yeah.
to see that all happen and come together.
Yes. So let's talk about you as an author of children's books. You have now written 2 children's books. And would you show our audience your most recent book, which actually is about to be live on Amazon, Don't Leave the Coop by Victoria Reinke? And if you could put it a little closer, I want them to be able to see that beautiful artwork on there, the illustrations by Mariana
Trying to move it the right.
McCall. Mariana McCall is the illustrator, and those are all original illustrations by Mariana. And this was really a partnership between the two of you. You guys did such beautiful work together, but this isn't your first children's book, and I want to know what sparked you to write for children.
God.
Was it a dream? Was it a very little whisper? Was it a nudge?
So, like I said earlier, where God would wake me up in the night, He actually woke me up. Let me get this one. In the middle of the night, and He gave me this whole story about a horse that we used to have. His name is Barney, and Barney goes to the horse show, and it's just this little girl and her horse and her relationship with the horse, and it's just a fun little story. Not as openly Christian. I mean, at the end, she prays, thank you for my
Okay.
horse thing. But I feel like this one is a bit more um, openly Christian because I do have it based on the commandment to honor your parents and to obey your parents. Um,
Yeah.
but this one actually, like I said, God gave me the story and I wrote it down on a scrap of paper. Like the way I make notes, it's like all over the place. It like goes here and there and everywhere. There's not a straight line. I can't write a straight line sometimes when I'm doing this stuff.
Well, you're a creative. That makes total sense. So when you say God woke you up, he literally gave you the whole story in one sitting.
Hmm.
Wow.
Well, and even with this one, I've had this story about the rooster since I think I looked at it just the other day, and it was like 2017 or something. And
Okay.
so it was one of those that I just kept going back to periodically. And then this year, I really felt that God nudge to go back to this story and to really work on it. And I worked on it. Oh my gosh. I had so many different iterations of this story. And then all of a sudden, boom, God gave it to me. And here it is. And that,
Wow.
you and I and Mari have done some improvements and corrections and made things a little bit clearer as we've gone through the editing and creating process of this book. But for the most part, what you see is the story that God gave me and brought it all together.
That's amazing. I love it. And I know others who are getting downloads for children's books in one sitting. And, there's a real call to women with that mother's heart, whether you have 9 kids or one. I'm thinking of
Exactly.
Dr. Bailey, who has one son and 3 grandchildren, and she's written something like 11 children's books this year. Just she'll be on an airplane and she'll get the whole story on one flight. And you're awakened in the middle of the night, and you get the whole story in one sitting. And to me, this is God saying, I care about and love these children. I care about and love these parents, and they both need help. And
Absolutely.
so, when you were talking last Friday morning at Few about your why, and you got a little emotional, can you tell us about your why? I mean, you could say, oh, because God woke me up in the middle of the night, but that's not your why, that's your what. So
Hmm.
tell us about your why.
Hopefully, I won't get as emotional this time, but
Well,
really,
I'm hoping you do.
yeah, you just like to see me cry. So I'm just watching what's going on in our world right now, like all of you are. I'm watching the stories of the books these kids are given to read in schools, and I'm just disgusted. I mean, some of these things shouldn't be on a bookshelf in an adult store, much less in our kids'
So true.
libraries. And
Yeah.
that just breaks my heart. And so I want to do my part and to give parents the tools that they need to encourage their kids to do the right thing, to make the right choices, to um, yeah. I really just want to partner with the parents in this day and age and just say, you know what, there are good things out there. There is things that you can use to help you be a better parent.
Yes,
And that's really
exactly. Yeah, that's so beautiful. I just see that especially younger parents, I feel like, and I'm not of this younger generation parenting. We are Gen Xers, and everybody knows Gen Xers we are an anomaly. We are just this generation of like mess with us and find out kind of people. Right?
yeah.
And we, like, half of us raised our kids that same way, and the
Hmm.
other half of us raised our kids really to not cause them any harm because of how much pain we grew up with. And so we've got this very weird, phenomenon in our own generation. But
Right.
in the parents today, the 20s and 30 somethings that are parenting their children, um, there seems to be a difficulty. I don't want to say fear, but there seems to be a challenge for young parents to say, no, you need to listen to your mom and dad. Like, we're your parents, we're the authority. And I'm not suggesting everybody has to be an authoritarian style of a parent. I think you can have a lot of different styles and be very gentle, but still enforce your authority. And
Absolutely. Hmm.
right. And I think, and I don't know, you're also watching this next generation, your children raise children, and other kids that, well, they're not kids anymore, but other young adults their ages.
There's
And,
kids too.
they're kids to us, right? And so, but are you looking at that like, why are they so afraid to just be the mom? Why are they so afraid to just be the dad? I
Yeah.
am too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and I understand it, but yet because you and I are on the other side of this parenting thing, almost completely on the other side of it, we are like, no, that's a pitfall, and
Yeah.
that's going to be a problem later.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, is that one of the reasons why you felt so strongly about writing about the topic of obedience?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Kids and parents both need to know that it's okay to call our kids to obedience, to train up our children to be obedient, you know? I think I think parents are afraid to say anything, because now they're going to be judged on Facebook. They're going to be judged all over the place. Everybody's looking at them. Everybody's
Oh,
and whoops. and and I think to that end, they're a little bit afraid to be the person to say, you know what, you really do need to obey me.
yeah.
And
Yep.
and I think that's one reason why I wrote this, to just let them know that, there, and I wrote this in the back of the book, um, that there's the verse in the Bible from Exodus 20:12 that says, honor your father and mother so that you may have a long life in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. It's the only um, commandment in the Bible with a promise. What's the promise? You'll have a long life in the land the Lord God gave you. You're going
Yes.
to live long. You're going to have a good life. I mean, obviously, there's still going to be some pitfalls and whatever,
Right.
some hiccups. We're not promised a easy life. We're promised a good life.
That's right. Oh, that's a good quote. That's a quotable right there.
Oh, thanks. You're welcome.
Somebody out there type that to me so we can make an image out of that.
Right?
But I love that, because what that really tells us is, for those who honor father and mother, even if your parents aren't raising you to love Jesus, there's a spiritual principle that obedient, honoring children have a favor and a blessing in their lives that others don't have.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and so when parents aren't teaching obedience, they're actually robbing their child of the opportunity to get that blessing of that comes with honor.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart for both of them. It really does.
It does. Yeah. Well, and even look through Proverbs. It talks about raising up children and not being afraid to discipline a child. And if you
Yes.
think of, well, and even in, I forget where that is, um, the father disciplines a child.
Those he loves.
Those,
Yes.
thank you. That's the one. Those he loves.
Yes.
Discipline doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't
Right.
have to be a traumatic, ugly thing like many
That's
of us
right.
were raised up in. You
Yeah.
know,
It can be corrective. It can be gentle. It can be all kinds of things. It can just be allowing the logical consequences to play out instead of running interference and trying to keep our kids from any consequences of their bad choices.
oh my gosh,
Discipline can just be getting out of the way.
exactly. Yes. Yes, and it doesn't mean that we just step back and let consequences take over and we say nothing when the kids are doing whatever. I mean, there are times when we do, obviously. We have to be discerning. But there are times when we step in and say, you know what you're doing isn't a good idea. Let's
Yep.
talk.
Yes. I'm thinking of times where I would get a call from the teacher at school when I was not homeschooling. And, one of my kids got in trouble. And my question would be, after, trying to get the big picture of what went on, one of my first questions then is, well, what are the consequences? What are the consequences the school is going to, bring for this? And so often the teacher or the administrator would get this nervous, like, hesitation in their voice. Well, they were afraid to tell me as the parent that there were going to be consequences, that the school had a policy. And I could sense oftentimes this hesitation, that they were so used to parents going, now, you're not doing that to my kid. I'm not, no, that's not going to fly for my kid's innocent, or whatever it is that parents say when they're running interference. And so I would say to them, when I sense that hesitation, and by the way, whatever the consequences, I will support it. I just want to know what it is so I can support it here at home.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher administrator would go, oh, like literally with surprise. Oh, that's why you're asking? So that we can be a team? So
Mm-hmm.
that we're working on the same goal, that your child would learn from this mistake? Yes, that's why I'm asking. And so, those are hard things to do as a parent because you don't want your kid. I mean, one of my kids had to miss the Sadie Hawkins dance, and the cute hot girl that he liked asked him to go, and they were going to be on court.
Oh no, that's tragic.
It broke my heart.
Yeah.
But that was the consequence the school had decided on.
Hmm.
And this child had many opportunities to fix and to stop that train from coming down the tracks. This
Hmm.
wasn't the first car in the train. Let's just say that, okay? This was the caboose. And, and this child had many chances to get that train to stop. And so by this time, I'm like, well, if I rescue him now, we just wasted all the other train cars.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
so it is a hard thing to teach obedience. I mean, what I love about your book, though, Vicki, is you make it cute and fun when they're little. And if you can make it cute and fun for them when they're little, maybe they'll keep on doing it when they're big.
What a great idea. Yes. And I love
That was,
that, if you think about our kids and as we've watched our kids grow up, don't you find that some of those things that we've trained them up in, as they're little, it kind of helped a little bit as they grew older? I mean, obviously they still did some stupid stuff, but they knew, right? They knew from what we taught them that what they did is wrong and that there's going to be some consequences. They
yeah,
knew kind of what to expect.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think the thing parents need to understand about teaching obedience is we are going to get it wrong as parents,
Oh my God.
even especially when our kids are little and every stage is new. We don't know what we're doing. But if we're willing to be learners and grow as parents and say we're sorry when we botch it, our
Mm.
kids will continue to learn from us all the way. My oldest is 35 now. Is your oldest also 35? Well,
Yeah.
he will be. No, yes, my oldest is 35. Yeah.
So his birthday is in 87. So
Oh, he's 36 this year then.
yeah, he'll be
Yeah.
36. Yeah.
Okay.
Pathetic.
So yeah, they're within a year from each other.
Yeah.
That's right.
They
Um,
out together, FYI. For
yes, they
listeners.
do. So we have these kids, 20 kids aged 36 to 17, and we've had to say sorry a lot of times.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But as we grow as parents and they grow as humans and we keep trying to get it right, I'm wondering, Vicki, if you're seeing the same thing, that you find that they continue to want to honor their parents. And, they continue along that vein of, well, I might not always agree with my mom, but I want to honor my mom. Or I want to show my oldest son is always like, I want my son to see how to treat his mom based on the way I treat you, mom. And, like that kind of thing where it begins to even take greater shape when they're in their adult years and then they begin their family. But yes, it starts when they're little and you say, listen to mommy, or oops, that's not what mommy said.
Mm-mm.
And it even starts with something so simple as manners,
Oh
which
yeah.
I didn't know how to teach manners when my older kids were little. I'd go, say please, say please. Well, I was always feeding them the lines, so they never had to remember. And then I learned to say, oh, mom, I want a drink. Oh, so sad. Why is that sad? Because mommy gives drinks to kids with manners. Oh, well, better luck next time. And then I'd walk away. And the walk away is a very important part of that technique because
It is.
then
Mm-hmm.
they have to come back to you and try it again. You're not just feeding them the line, they have to take the initiative. And I remember one time Eli was about 3 and he was trying to get his shoes on. And of course, he couldn't tie shoes yet, but he couldn't even get them on this time because the laces were just, tugged too tight. And
Yeah.
he came up to me and started hitting my leg
Oh,
and yelling and screaming, I can't get my shoes on. And he's just like going off. That was his way of asking for help at 3.
How'd that work for him?
Well, I can tell you how it worked out. I said to him, "Oh, this is so sad." As I backed away from his flailing arms,
Mm,
and I backed away, I said, "This is so sad. Mommy only helps boys with manners." And I got out of the room because
absolutely.
he was sitting on the floor with his shoe hitting me. So I just scooted out of there. And it was maybe 2 minutes later, he did collect himself. Now, this is a 3-year-old child. He collected himself, gathered up his faculties, and said, if I'm going to get help, I've got to regroup. And he found me in the kitchen. And next thing I know, I feel, instead of flailing, I felt a gentle tap on my leg. And I
There you
looked down and he said, Mommy, please, will you help me put my shoes on? And then I could go, I would love to.
go.
And
Yes,
instead of the, oh, how sad I can't help you, it was the joy that I get to help you. And,
absolutely.
he's 19 now. And I just cannot even believe it. He's the same child that used to just clothesline me and grab me by the scarf and hit me across the face at 10 months old in Walmart. He did. This child was my number 10 child. And I told people if I knew he was coming, I would have stopped at 9. But
Oh my gosh, I know, right? Oh my gosh.
but I'm so glad I didn't, because teaching him obedience through these gentle but consistent techniques of I don't that you're not going to get what you need like that, or
Mhm.
what you want like that. He's been a joy to raise. He's been a pleasure to raise, because that was all out of him by the time he went to school.
Also,
And I mean, it's possible to teach our children obedience without being heavy-handed or authoritarian, or triggering them,
mhm.
to use a buzzword that a lot of people don't love.
I have a story like that too. One of my kids had a really hard time. It took him forever, and I finally had to actually do some vocal exercises and speech exercises with him. And so one day it was snack time, and he wanted a cookie, and I said, "Okay, say cookie." He said, "That's what I said, Mom. Tookie,
What did you say, Tookie?
tookie."
That's what I said, Mom.
That's what I said, Mom. Tookie. I'm sorry. I was a bad parent that time because I was laughing so hard. I just gave him the cookie.
That was awesome. I know, when they start saying words correctly, I would get sad. I'd be like, no, say it wrong. I mean, it was not great for their learning of the English language, but it was adorable.
It's terrible. Oh my gosh, I love those stages, and I wish. Now, this is for you parents, younger parents. Please write down those little words that you think you're going to remember forever,
You
because
won't.
remember he would say truck with an F without the R. I remember that he could say quirrell, which was squirrel, and I remember
And Tookie?
and Tookie only because of that story. And the rest of them, I can't remember.
Fun. Yes, I
Fun.
know. Some of
Was
them stick, some of them don't. Don't you want to have them all start a little encyclopedia or a dictionary of their language? It's so
yeah.
fun. I remember when Jonah was little, for elephant, he pronounced it Ephenine. No idea how he got Ephenine out of elephant, but to this day, when we go to the zoo and I'm like, look, an Ephenine, and people think I'm nuts. Um,
About
because I'm a weird mom, guys. So,
exactly.
Vicki, this is a question I had as we came into this interview, and obviously I've been involved in your book publishing process. So, the more acquainted I get with your story, with your heart behind it, with Reginald and the girls, we call them Reginald and the girls, but the girls are the chickens, right?
They are.
And they're so cute, and they each have their own personality. That's what I mean by a fun, lighthearted way to teach your kids obedience. But this was my thought. What about writing a whole series based on the 10 Commandments?
Hmm. That would be fun.
Have you thought about that or no?
I know I've been kind of chewing on what stories to write next, and I've been kind of pondering more on Millie and the Seven Goats. But yeah, but I didn't really think about one for each of the Ten Commandments. But that would be fun. We could pull out something like that, Kim.
I mean, because think about it, the Ten Commandments are no longer a part of our school system. They're not a part of our justice system. You know, we need to be creative as mothers of faith, as daughters of God, you know, as women of legacy, that we want our legacy passed down to our children. We're going to have to get a little creative about it.
Absolutely.
And to me, you are a creative, your projects are creative, and this could be a way that families could impart the Ten Commandments to their children in a fun and entertaining way. Tell the audience what your grandson said when you read him the book the other day.
Oh my gosh. Actually, my one of my other sons was reading the book to him. I had just given it
Oh,
to him and the boys were over. Two of the boys were over, and how did that? Either way, they were sitting on the couch together, and Alex was reading the book to Calvin, and I heard, "Read it again," and I went, "Yes!" I
that
was
is the best review right there. How old is Calvin?
He is, oh goodness. I think he's 3, 4. No, he's going to be 4. Sorry. He's going to
Okay.
be
We're making an image with Calvin's review. Read it again. Calvin, age 3. What more do you guys need to know? Your little ones are going to love this book.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the best review I could get right there.
It really is, because if the kid's like meh, then you know, back to the drawing board, right? Um,
Absolutely.
in fact, when you had the story in mind, did you tell it to any of your grandchildren or like test it at all?
I did a little bit. Two of my grands that live in Appleton, we would FaceTime a lot, and so I started telling her, and she was probably 2 or 3 at the time, and she's she don't have time for this.
She's one of those, huh?
She's one of those, yeah. And it was still early on in some of my own illustrations, and I'll tell you about that later on in the interview. Um, but she's looking at it and she's listening to me read, and then next thing I know, I'm seeing the ceiling, and she's showing me some spectacular move that she knows how to do. So I was like,
Back to the drawing board.
the drawing.
Literally, because you actually ended up doing something very different with your drawings.
I did,
Yeah,
yeah.
tell us about Mariana.
So Mariana, she's a friend that I've kind of gotten to know a little bit over the last couple of years, and I knew that I've known about her. I've known she's an artist, um, but I wasn't sure, you know. So I was going to do the illustrations, and I was going to have her just look them over and edit and make improvements and kind of help me to do the illustrations better, you know. I mean, I know how to draw some. It's really not my passion though. I enjoy drawing sometimes, but it's like 500th on the list every day, you know.
Right.
So, um, so yeah, I asked her that and I hired her to do that. And then about, I don't know, 6 weeks later, maybe even 2 months later, she's like, "Are you gonna send me any drawings to look at?" I was like, "I'm getting there." So I decided to send her a few of the ones that I had started, and I was like, "These are very rough drawn. I know we need to do some improvements, whatever." And so she sends me back like within days, like by the end of the week, she sends me back these little comments and suggestions for how to draw things better and whatnot. And I'm looking at that. And then I went to try drawing the things that she was showing me. And I was like, it's just not happening.
So Mariana, how much do you charge?
Exactly. And then what was so wild is that let's see, so I think I hired her on probably like a Monday. And by the end of that week, I had 5 drawings that she sent me. I was like,
Wow.
oh my gosh, this is the best money I've ever spent. Money I've
And
ever
by the
spent.
way, if you have a children's book audience, Mariana is taking new projects, and she's local here in the southeastern Wisconsin area, but she doesn't have to be local to you to work together. We did all of our meetings over Zoom or over FaceTime, and even though Mariana and I are also local, but she's fantastic.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she has an incredible attitude,
Hmm.
just such a joy to work with. And her illustrations in your book, Vicki, one of my favorite things in the whole book is how she drew you on the note to parents page. I love that.
I do too. I've been using it on my social media stuff now too. Let me find
You
it.
should. I feel like I just wanted to draw me just for like the heck of it. That's so cute.
Isn't it adorable? Oh my God.
It really is. She did such a great job. Well, Vicki, tell our audience, we're gonna wind down here, but tell them all the things you do and how can they connect with you, and to learn more about what you do, and then tell them specifically where and when they can buy your book, Don't Leave the Coop.
Are you sure you want me to tell them everything I do? Because,
Okay, we'll be here a while.
well, first of all, you know that I do not illustrate. So there's that. So I do body code though, and body code is a method of healing that I started doing 3 years ago, just like actually 2 years ago, I should say. Um, and it is such a powerful method for finding and releasing trapped emotions and imbalances in the body. I've done it on Kimberly, and she was blown away. And I also spent a lot of time doing Christian ministry. So a lot of my Christian ministry tools get utilized in the my body code sessions.
So
Um,
would you qualify all that as healing
yeah,
ministry? Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
healing ministry. I don't know what else to call it. I just kind of keep it covered under the body code.
Yeah.
Uh, it's
Well,
body
it's all
really
inner
hard.
healing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Who doesn't need that?
everybody needs that, especially in this day and age. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've really enjoyed doing that. And so that and illustrating, I mean not illustrating books, writing books. And yeah, you can find me at abundantliving.com. Excuse me, abundantlivingwithvicky.com, and on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, I'm on. Well, you can find me at both Victoria Reinke and Vicki Reinke. My business page is Vicki Reinke because that makes perfect sense, right?
What? Say that again.
My business page is Vicki Reinke, and my personal page is Victoria Reinke.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Well, at
whatever.
least you know which is which. This is the correct website.
Yep.
Okay. I love it. Well, if somebody did want to do some body coding with you, would they be able to try out your services with a complimentary session before they commit?
Yes, all of my first sessions are always free because I want you to
Wow.
check it out and try it for yourself before you commit. Um, yeah, so just go on the abundantlivingwithvicky.com and you can schedule an appointment with me. And we can do the first appointment, like I said, is free. And then, yeah, then I can answer any questions. And I work via Zoom or in person, or even we can do it on over the phone.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing. And tell us about Don't Leave the Coop. When can they get their own copy of this beautiful children's book?
On Friday. Friday.
Friday!
Woo-hoo!
Friday 9/15 is the big release date on Amazon. The copies are $15.95.
Yep, $15.95.
So I hate to say it because it's still September, but stocking stuffers,
Oh yeah. Oh my
right? If
God.
you do Halloween gifts, Halloween gift, or St. Nick's, whatever, just stock up and give them as baby shower gifts. I've decided that one of the greatest things you can give new mamas is good reading stuff for her kids. And even if she doesn't start reading to the infant right away, she's got a library of good Christian content for her little ones. And
Absolutely.
both of Vicky's books, Barney Goes to the Horse Show
Mm-hmm.
and Don't Leave the Coop, would qualify for someone's library as excellent, excellent reading material for your little ones.
Thank
And Alvin said it best, read it again. Thank you, Calvin, for that plug.
That's right. I love that kid.
Well, Victoria, it has been a pleasure talking to you. We could talk about parenting all the live long day. We've made all the mistakes and we've made all the adjustments, and we love our children to the moon and back. And now
Mm-hmm.
we have the joy of loving our grandbabies too. Um,
Yeah.
and
So
you don't know this, but your project, Don't Leave the Coop, has inspired me to write some children's books.
awesome. What you gonna write? Tell us
I,
about it.
I have told no one this. Actually, I've told a couple, like no one publicly.
Right.
I'm actually going to keep my idea on the DL
Okay.
because I want to talk to my family about it first, because
Okay.
it involves my family. But I am very, very, very excited about the idea of writing some great children's stories for that same reason you did, because our babies deserve it. The next generation of parents need it. We all need that kind of help and support, no matter what generation we're born in. When we start parenting kids, we need all the help.
Absolutely.
And and the Lord's placed a lot in us. And so if you're one of those people that feels called to write, reach out to Victoria, reach out to me, get some feedback on that, and keep listening to that nudge. God might not have woken you up in the middle of the night. He may
Right.
not have inspired you the way he's inspired other authors, but just because it's different doesn't mean it's not him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. God speaks to us in so many different ways. And at some point, I want to do some books about that too. We might need more than just those 9 more ISBN numbers that we bought.
Good. I love hearing that. I don't want you wasting your ISBNs, Vicky. Well, you guys, thank you so much for watching the show today or listening back to our episode. It has been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you
Yes.
for being with me today.
Thank you for having me today. This has been a blast.
It
Thank you.
really has. It's been my pleasure. And so, all of you, don't forget to be extraordinary, tell your story, and get Don't Leave the Coop this Friday on Amazon. Bye now.
Bye.